Hello, hello, hello. So I'm coming on this evening to talk with you about choosing your armor. We are in the Prepare for War series as we gear up for our 9/11 Advanced Spiritual Warfare training with our guest trainer, Pastor LaShawn Law. And as we prepare for war, I'm covering different topics that you need to be prepared for war before it ever gets to your door. So first, let me introduce myself. I am Chayla Jackson. I am a trademark and business attorney, but in this capacity, I am the purpose police. I am here to serve and protect kingdom CEOs so that you are armed and legally dangerous to protect his business and your business too. I am also the founder of Armed and Legally Dangerous. And we have a mandate by heaven to cultivate and produce weaponized kingdom CEOs with legal knowledge, strategy, and skills to effectively and efficiently build and protect the business God has assigned to them. So with that said, y'all, if you want to learn more about Armed and Legally Dangerous, what we provide, how we can help you as a kingdom CEO, you can go to onedangerousceo.com. And if you're looking to register for our advanced spiritual warfare training, you can go to our events page and find out. If you just want to browse around and you're looking for weapons, we store our weapons in the armory. So head on over to the armory. Unless you are in the membership, then you have an entire portal where you have exclusive access to get armed. All right. And legally dangerous. So tonight, for Prepare for War, I just finished training and coaching in the legal membership tonight on risk management. So last month we did risk assessment, and this month we did risk management. So first and foremost, when we talk about risk assessment is really enemy identification. Can you identify the enemy, the threat to you? Can you identify the enemy? Because an enemy that you cannot identify is an enemy that you cannot strategize against. If you don't know what a threat is to your business, to your spiritual life, to your personal life, how in the world can you manage it? How can you devise a plan to eliminate it, to overcome it, to assassinate the enemy? And so you have to know your enemy. If you don't even know that you're under warfare attack, if you don't even know that this is a threat, that this is not supposed to be, you will end up accepting it by default and allowing the enemy to just go ahead and have his way. And one of those ways that the enemy can show up is in a lawsuit, a breach of contract. He can show up in many different ways, and we want to be prepared for war again before it ever gets to our door, because by the time it hits us, sometimes it's too late. So today in Prepare for War, I want to talk to you about choosing your weapon. One of the weapons that you can choose choosing your armor. One of the pieces of your armor is your shield. Now, in Ephesians 5, it lists out the armor of God. And so there's a shield of faith. And it says that the shield of faith will quench all the fiery darts of the enemy. Those darts are darts that got fire in them. They hit, they explode. Because if you get hit and you don't have anything to protect you, that means you can be taken out. You got to go to recovery. You're not on the battlefield anymore. You are in recovery. You got to get out of battle. And so that shield of faith, our shield in business, one of our shields in business is a contract. A contract is a shield for us in business. But tonight I want to talk to you about one particular area of contracts that literally will prepare you for war. The war of litigation, the war of the legal landscape, the war of dealing with how in the world am I going to afford this lawsuit when I don't have the money coming in, or I just don't want to spend the money. We have to be prepared before it ever gets to our door. And so one of the ways that you can be prepared with your shield of a contract is making sure that embedded in your contract, your shield, is what's called a limitation of liability clause. a limitation of liability. Now, liability is essentially what you're on the hook for. So people can recover for many different things. If you're liable, you're responsible. If you're liable, you're responsible, meaning you've been found at fault. And then it's how do we recover? So people have to prove damages. They have to prove that they suffered some type of harm that warrants them recovering. And so there are different types of damages. There are direct damages. This is directly caused by the harm. And then there's indirect damages. Let's say, for example, that, someone hired you and it's a time sensitive thing because they have a business opportunity. Maybe they have a 6-figure contract on the line and they work with you. Now, if you breach the contract, it's a possible foreseeable consequence that by you not doing what you promised, they lose out on a six-figure contract. We don't want to be on the hook paying for 6 figures when maybe your breach of contract was you were in the hospital and missed the deadline. Things happen. That's why I recommend writing grace into your contract. And I'll just give you this. Grace looks like a cure breach provision that gives you the opportunity to fix what happened, but also how you write your contract and write in some grace for you, okay? Because things happen. You want to make sure that you are covered. So let's get back to limitation of liability. Liability, types of damages that can recover for. So you have indirect damages, and then you have consequential damages. Think about the consequence. Because you did this, there's a consequence. So sometimes consequences are called like punitive damages, and so they are penalizing you to make sure this behavior doesn't happen. And not just for that particular case, but for other people, other businesses that will come behind them. They'll see this case and how it's determined and say, the penalty is too high. Let's correct our behavior. So there are different types of damages. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be on the hook for somebody's 6-figure contract because I made a mistake. That's just not what I want. And so to limit damages is not just one of the ways you want to limit liability for yourself, right? Your shield, what needs to be in the shield of your contract is you can limit damages by the type of damages they can recover for. So you want to limit the type of damages they recover for so you're not on the hook for all types of damages. Now, another thing that you want to limit is you don't want the dollar amount going up and up and up. And so you can legally limit the amount that they can recover for in the contract. Come on, y'all. This is the shield. When a lawsuit takes place, it is a fiery dart. You want to be able to kick that lawsuit out. You want to be able to minimize your loss. A limitation of liability clause helps you do that. Helps you make sure that you're not on the hook for all types of damages they can recover for. It helps you to limit the amount they can recover for. So you are not on the hook for possible thousands of dollars. Let's say the contract was for $20,000. In your shield of a contract, your limitation of liability, you can legally limit, instead of them recovering for $20,000, maybe it's $10,000. You can limit their ability to recover. Now, another part of limitation of liability that is so important in preparing for war, y'all. We got to prepare for war. And in choosing your armor, your shield, just like the shield of faith, your contract, you want to make sure that you limit this very important thing. Now, before I say what it is, because I'm telling you this is a game changer, I'm telling you, this is how cases get kicked out. This is how cases get dismissed. This is how you make sure that your legal bill doesn't keep rising and rising and rising because you had this in your armor of a contract, because this was in your shield of a contract, because you had this in there. Now, before I say this, we're in our Prepare for War series, gearing up for our 9/11 Advanced Spiritual Warfare training. You want to be in the room. You want to be in the room. On 9/11, we are being trained on how to defeat a terrorist attack, because a terrorist attack is not a regular attack, y'all. We do not want to be caught unaware. We want to be prepared. You can register for that. Get in the room. I'm telling you, don't want to miss it at onedangerousceo.com/events. Okay. Now, if you come across this video and it's after 9/11 and you want access, you can find it either under the events page or where we store our weapons in the armory. Okay, that's where we store our weapons in the armory. But sometimes you can find it on the events page. All right, now that I said that, I'm gonna give this to y'all. So what I want you to do is I want you to Google this question. Google this question. The question is, what is the statute of limitations for a breach of contract in, and I want you to put your state. What is the statute of limitations for a breach of contract in, and I want you to put your state. Whatever answer you get is how long someone has to sue you. So if it's 3 years, they have 3 years to sue you. If it's 6 years, they got 6 years to sue you. I don't know about you, but that's a little too long. Can you remember the evidence that can help you win your case? Would you even still have the files and everything backed up? Would you still have access to your emails, your text messages, or maybe written notes? Now here's the thing. Some of us like say, well, I keep really good notes. Well, what happens if there's a cyber attack? We got entire homes being swept away right now. Tornadoes ripping things apart. What happens if where you stored everything is now wiped away? What happens if you change providers and you lose all access to your previous emails? Oh, see, we're and look, we just finished our risk management training tonight. Last month we did risk assessment in the armed and legally dangerous legal membership because these are risks that we have to plan for. And so here's the thing. You don't know if you're still going to have the evidence that you need to prove your case, back up a claim, even if the claim is a lie, even if it's frivolous. Will you have what you need to win that war of a lawsuit? The chances go down the longer the statute of limitation period extends. We talking about choosing your armor. Choosing your armor. And in this shield, the shield of a contract that helps you quench the fiery darts, Ephesians 5, y'all, the armor of God. In this shield of your contract for the limitation of liability, you could limit the statute of limitations. You can limit it. When you put this language in there, you could legally limit how long they have to come sue you. And courts, I found this in a case, y'all. I was doing some research, studying up, and I found this in a case. A court saw that there was a limitation of liability in a contract for how long someone could sue. The person brought the lawsuit outside of that time period that was set in the contract. And the judge said, we can't hear this case because we don't typically override what's in the contract. You agreed to it, so we don't override it. That sounds a lot about how God's law operates, huh? You agreed to this. There's a legal right to this. I can't override that legal right until you get rid of it. See, you agreed to this thing, so I can't just stop it until you deal with the legal right. You have to, you sign a contract here. So you're telling me that if someone tried to sue me after the period I put in the contract, that it's possible I can get the case dismissed? Yes, it is. You know what else? It's not just about getting the case dismissed and winning. It's also about how much money it saves you in a lawsuit. See, once you get past a certain threshold, once you get past, $5,000, $10,000, depending on what small claims court is, you in big court. And in big court, there's a number of states that actually require you have an attorney before you can bring a lawsuit. That means you got to pay the legal bills if you want to win. And if you don't pay the legal bill, if you don't get the attorney, you're at risk of losing automatically by default. And if you lose, that means now, look, I'm telling y'all, you just don't understand. If you lose just because of a technicality, you still got to pay up. That don't even seem right. That's not even fair. But this is how, if you have to pay the lawyer, this is how you keep the legal bill down, by limitation of liability. By limiting how long they have to sue you. But this is also how you keep your liability down, by making sure you limit what they can recover for, what type of damages, and also how much they can recover for. So that's what I want to share with you about preparing for war. When it comes to that, when it comes to choosing your armor, particularly your shield in a contract. A contract is a type of shield. And in this shield, one of the pieces that help protect you is a limitation of liability clause, where you can limit your liability by type of damages, by the amount, and by how long they have to sue you. Now, let me just say this, because one of the mistakes I see people, business owners make trying to do this themselves is they put a limitation of liability for themselves too. Why in the world would you want you to be limited to sue them for a short amount of time? Why would you want to be limited to only recovering for a certain amount of damages? Why would you want a cap on your ability to go after them? If their breach of contract cost you $40,000, I don't want to be limited to $10,000 in recovery. This is why you got to be careful in how you draft your contracts. Because your contract is a type of shield, but you don't want that shield to be used against you. You can have strong shields, or you can have a weak shield. But we want a strong shield, because that shield quenches the fiery darts of the enemy. And in our case, it helps us quench the fiery darts of a lawsuit and get rid of it before it takes us out. All right. If you found this helpful, comment below, share this. This will be uploaded to our YouTube page at One Dangerous CEO. And again, register for our training. Go to onedangerousceo.com/events to get in the 9/11 defeat a terrorist attack advanced spiritual warfare training with our guest trainer, Pastor LaShawn Law. Now, look, y'all, I want you to look at your contracts. Look at your contracts. Do you have this? Do you have a limitation of liability clause? Does it protect you? Is your armor, is your shield strong, or is it weak? Are you going to be protected, or are you at risk? You want to look at your contract. Is it in there? And if you ain't got a contract, then baby, whatever answer Google gave you about how long somebody has to sue you, that's your contract. You just wide open. That's how long they got. You got to wait and see. Okay. And I'm telling you this because in my law practice, I do breach of contract settlements. And the reality is when people are threatening to sue and coming after you, if you don't have this in your contract, you literally are in a wait and see. You got to wait and see if this person is gone for good, or if they're going to wait until before the statute of limitations run out. Because see, if people don't have money to sue you right away, because you didn't have this in your contract, now they got time to collect their coins and prepare to come after you. Ain't nothing like an enemy that's waiting and preparing to attack you, and then you get attacked unaware and you don't have the money to defend yourself. Oh. You don't want to be caught unaware. This is why you have to prepare for war before it ever reaches your door. And how you do that is with choosing your armor, particularly the shield of a contract. And in this shield, this particular clause, a limitation of liability of type of damages, of the amount, and of time. Limit the statute of limitations. All right, y'all, that's it for tonight. I am Chayla Jackson, the Purpose Police, here to serve and protect Kingdom CEO so that you are armed and legally dangerous to protect his business and your business too. I'm the founder of Armed and Legally Dangerous. We are making sure that we are creating weaponized Kingdom CEOs, because look, some of y'all are armed and dangerous. Y'all about to get arrested. You are dangerous to everybody. Some of you you about as dangerous as the toothpick. You can't do no harm because you just don't know and you don't have your stuff in order. And this is why Armed and Legally Dangerous is making sure that you are backed by the law, that the law is on your side, that you know exactly what to do in every circumstance. You get training, you get coaching, you get equipped depending on what part of the Armed and Legally Dangerous branch you are in. So we have our free community and we have our legal membership, but make sure that you sign up for the 9/11 Advanced Spiritual Warfare Training, y'all. It's going to be on 9/11 already. Let's prepare for war. Again, comment below. If this was fire, put fire. If you don't have a limitation of liability clause, say, you know what? I ain't got it, but I'm about to get it. Let me know in the chat. Make sure you share this. And of course, if this is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe there so you don't miss anything in our Prepare for War series at One Dangerous CEO. All right, y'all have a good night.